Welcome to the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast. UFC Fight Night, Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. We're going to have a chat about it. How about that? This is the prelims chat.
It ain't called Fight Night. It's called UFC on ESPN, Hall versus Strickland.
I've just look it on my box. It said Fight Night.
Yeah, it was some idiot at BT Sport offices.
No, on the actual broadcast it says Fight Night, yeah?
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
All right, well, it don't matter.
What does it matter?
Okay.
It's Strickland having a smash with Uriah Hall. Done.
That's it. That's exactly right. The first fight is Philip the Fresh Prince Rowe versus Orion Galaxy Coast. Right. Well, I didn't see this fight.
Yeah, what brilliant review show. Because neither
Good,
did
isn't
I.
it? What about this fella's
fantastic.
name? Orion.
Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell.
Hang on, we're getting there. How do you pronounce the Galaxy bloke's name?
Orion.
Right.
Even
okay.
I don't know. If he turned up to say I was going to interview him, and someone said to me,
"No, register. Call about register in a class."
Yeah, okay, yeah. First day of school, and you got to use both names. No, let's just forget it.
Normally, you have to use a surname. So you go
do the old school English method. Yeah. I would say Koska.
Well, you know why you're getting no answer because
you don't think it's right. That's not my name, sir. I don't think it's anything like Kosh or.
We don't end on an A. Why is it Koska?
Because it's CE. Koska.
Have you heard any other name like this? You know, like football, you get a lot of different names, don't you? Nothing.
No.
Similar.
No.
It's a rare one, isn't it? I've never seen this. Koshe. Well, anyway, we didn't see the fight, and Philip Rowe won by a TKO in round 2. So, look, we like doing chats, but we ain't going to chat about stuff that we know nothing about, right? We would never do that.
No, we aren't. What I want to say quickly about this is...
What about this fight?
Yeah, Phil Rowe weighed in heavy. He weighed in heavy. He was 2.5 pounds over, and obviously he also got the knockout victory. Leave a bit of a bad taste in your mouth when stuff like that happens?
Well, in my mouth, I'd say, yeah, but let's go from Kosher's mouth and say, what does Kosher think of it? And I'd say, you've agreed it. So bad taste in your mouth off. Can't really say out. However, you can use it as an excuse and go, look, I got done here, but he came in heavy. So I didn't really get done. It's still going to be on your record, though. You can't get rid of that mistake. But what I would say is, if he said, no, I'm not taking this fight, would that be worse for him, UFC-wise? Would they think worse of him for not taking it?
Well, you mentioned earlier, we've been talking a lot about the Ultimate Fighter. And Brilliant. In one of those episodes, we had a gentleman called Miles Hunsinger who had a injury that he was cleared to fight with, but he didn't feel too good on the injury, and he decided not to go ahead with a fight. And we said he burnt his bridges with the UFC. Dana don't like people like that. He likes people who, turn up and clock in and all that sort of stuff. And so I think if this Orion guy turned down the fight for only 2.5 pounds as well, not the biggest weight miss ever. I think if he turned it down for 2.5 pounds, I think his card would be marked. So I think for me, it leaves a bad taste because sometimes I think these people probably feel slightly obligated to carry on. The show must go on. This event had a lot of pullouts anyway. It had a late pullout between Kyung Ho Kang and Rani Yahya, which was, let's be honest, probably for the benefit of the card. That's why for me it just leaves a bit of a bad taste because the chap may have felt some outside pressure to take a fight against the guy who hasn't hit the agreed weight. You mentioned earlier, he agreed it. He agreed to take the fight at 173. He actually didn't, right? He agreed to take the fight at 170, 171 for the £1 allowance. He agreed it at 170. This guy moved the goalpost last minute, this Phil Rowe, weighed in heavy, and gave the guy a snap decision to make. He still wants to get paid. He don't want to burn bridges with UFC, all these things. So he made a decision, and guess what? He got banged out for his troubles. So honestly, this sort of stuff does leave a bad taste in my mouth.
It does do, but like you said, the bad thing about it is that Galaxy, like you say, got a decision to make. And I think that, unfortunately, strangely enough, the decision of getting banged out has probably done him better than the decision of not taking the fight. It's ridiculous,
Agreed.
but I think it's true.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. So
crazy, really. But
yeah.
what did we think of the nickname? I mean, is Orion a planet or something? Is that why he's called Galaxy, or is it because he likes chocolate?
Oh, that is his name, is it? Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be something to do with that, isn't it? Orion, some sort of space stuff. I'm sure I heard it in science fiction geek stuff. So
What about the other bloke, Fresh Prince?
No, I was thinking he should call himself Row Your Boat.
Row your boat. Right. Okay. The next fight.
Well, you come up with a better one. Phil, row your boat. Brilliant. I'd love to hear Buffer doing that. Fantastic.
No, his nickname should be Cod.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Cod Row, isn't it?
Or no,
Hedge.
I'll be what?
Hedgerow.
Death.
No. Ooh, horrible.
That's a good one. Phil,
actually, for
Phil,
a fighter, that is a mint one.
Good
he
one,
has
man.
missed. He has absolutely missed the trick there.
Yeah. Yep.
Look, he's probably listening. That's likely. I wouldn't blame him for going, I'm having that. I don't care who said it. I don't care what mug said it. I'm still taking it.
Call me a mug. Anyway, I didn't miss weight. Let's move on. Yeah.
Ryan Babyface Benoit. Ryan Babyface Benoit versus Zaruk the Lion Adashev. I think they were calling him Adashev rather than Adashev. What did you think of this fight? It was a decision win for Adashev. All I remember is calf kicks and Benoit's leg being pretty mashed up from calf kicks, which is obviously a pretty boring thing about UFC at the minute, but it is what it is.
I thought it was a decent fight, decent scrap. Both of them were decent. Both of them put in a pretty good performance. The only real talking point I got about the fight, as you say, it was sort of dominated by the leg kicks, which mashed up Benoit's leg. He kept on having to switch stances. Sometimes people stop throwing those calf kicks, or people, I don't know if their leg goes numb to them or something like that. They become, say, less effective later on in the fight. Sometimes this one, it wasn't. Benoit was always aware of that leg was hammered, right? But what I was going to say is he lost 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. My question to you was going to be that first round, he almost banged Adashev out. I mean, really.
Yeah, he got a little knockdown there, didn't he?
More than a little knockdown. It looked like the guy was probably one clean shot away from being done. That have undone all the sort of calf kicks and the good work he done earlier in the round. Because the Adashev wasn't dominating the fight. He was just doing the more damaging work. But it wasn't like he was battering Benoit from pillar to post. It was a pretty even round, and Benoit got in, if you like, the most significant strike of the round. He almost separated him from consciousness.
Yeah. So, he sort of briefly went on his hands and knees and took another shot to the face, and it looked like he was going to get done, but then for some reason he just rolled up and got out of it. So I don't understand really what happened. I'm not sure how hard that shot was, but it looked hard. It definitely got him on the ground. It did look like it could have been it's all over. It did look like that. But does it undo everything? Like you said, it's the most significant thing. There was only one person that was close to finishing that fight, and that was Adashev in that round. So you could say that, but I don't know. I'm going for the work rate. I'm going for Adashev still winning that round because he just did more. Someone could say that one thing took away the other 4.5 minutes or 4 minutes 50 seconds or whatever you want to put to it, but I don't. I'm going with work rate on the other fella on Adashev, and I'm giving him that round and all. How about that?
All right. Well, I just wanted your opinion. I found it quite difficult to score. Obviously, one judge did as well because he gave it 29-28. So we're giving that round to Benoit. The commentators didn't really bring it up or discuss it at all, or that it might have caused the round to swing. And I personally would have thought that would have been something worth discussing because I'm not sure. I think he was doing a lot of damage to that leg, right? And that leg got mashed in that first round, without a doubt. But there's something a bit more, I don't know, the fact that he almost blasted him out, and I do think it was close. And I think the round, was close, even with the calf kicks. The round was pretty close scoring-wise, strikes landed-wise. I think I probably would have lent towards Benoit.
He didn't get done by it. It didn't finish him. And I don't want to take away all the effort he did other than that. So I'm still
It's fair
giving it to
enough.
him.
I think it was close either way, which is obviously why one of the judges gave it to Benoit and the other two gave it to
That's it.
Dashev. We've proved that, right? I think Benoit, you think of Dashev. It's
Right,
just
it's right.
they just never discussed it on the broadcast, which I thought was weird.
That is weird. And if people watch the UFC, you might go, why you got these two having a chat about this, right? When you've got Bizzers, Felder, Fitzgerald, I believe, they're all doing this. I've watched it. I don't need to listen to this crap. Well, says your first answer to why you're listening now. Nobody. But anyway, yeah, yeah, because we talk more crap than they do, right? But there you go. You're right. Never got brought up.
I don't think we're going to be talking much crap about the next fight.
Probably not. This is Jinyu Fry, I think they call her, not Frey.
Frey.
Okay, Jinyu Frey, yeah. Versus Ashley Spider Monkey Yoda. This was a 3-round decision fight. Surprise, surprise. I don't think it was that bad for a woman fight. It was all right. Don't you think it was all right? I think I think they're actually both all right. I think Yoda's obviously crap strikes, right?
Yeah.
And a bit uncoordinated. And I think that Jinyu Fry, I think she's quite good, but just a bit, well, no, a bit, I don't know, the punches don't come out and don't reach nothing. But I do think that technically she looks quite good.
To me, I think, Frey looks like she knows what she's doing. Got a reasonable style about her. Yoda, I just think looks bandy. I mean, she landed, I'd say, the most significant strike. I think it was in round 3. She landed a 1-2, and it did look like it registered quite. I think it put Fry on quite.
Is that the one that smashed Uriah up?
Let's just say Jinyu. It put her on unsteady legs.
Is that the one that made her eye all go swollen up as well? I think it was.
It was the one where Yoda afterwards just basically threw 1-2.
Oh, about 500 times in a row.
Yeah, about 30 times. Now, I'm in two minds about that. One thing about it made me kind of go, stop it now, the same move. But at the same time, how often do we say a technique has worked or is working, say leg kicks or something, and people stop throwing it? So I like the fact that she went, my most significant damage in this fight was done with a 1-2. I'm going to chuck a few more at her and see what happens. So in a way, I kind of quite liked it.
I agree with that.
I think that Frey, she just seems a bit more composed, better style about her. Definitely the better fighter. She got the win, and I liked her chats at the end when the guy said, he asked her a question, and she just basically said a one-word answer like, "Yep," and he was like, okay, well, I guess that's that then. See you later.
Yeah.
I quite liked her in the chat afterwards. I thought she seemed quite humble.
Yeah, well, she said that she just wants fights, not in a position, doesn't feel like she's in a position to call people out at the minute. So she's just going to carry on having fights to see if she wins and all that. So, yeah, I agree. I thought the chats were good. Sometimes, if in doubt, leave it out. Better left unsaid. That might be a made up one. But there's no point in doing a tercios and chatting for the sake of chatting, right? That's what we do. There's enough people out there doing that.
Yep.
I did think it was good in that instance. Sometimes you want a bit of elaboration, but in those post-fight chats, the questions, they ain't that good anyway. They're the same for every fighter pretty much. And what more do you want? Yeah, that's right. It's part of the game plan. See you later. I mean, I've got a swollen eye. I want to go home, you mug. You come out here, just give interview chats to me, ask me crap questions with shoes that match the colour of your beard. Fip off, Felder, you mug.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Bad that, wasn't it? Them rotten shoes sticking out the bottom like Soringers. Ginger shoes. No such colour. Excuse me, yeah. What colour would you like those shoes in, please? Ginger, please. Is that all right? Yeah, no worries, yeah. Brilliant. All things considered, seeing that fight on the card and me going, it was okay. I think my favourite moves of the fight, seeing as we're really breaking down this fight here, Fry did a good move where she did, like, a couple of times she done it, quite a good body shot into a cross. I thought that was pretty good. Worked a couple of times as well. That was a good move. That one stood out for me. I went, yeah, that was quite good. But that's it. I ain't talking about this no more. How dare you make me talk about this fight for this long?
I can't believe you've dragged it out as far. Listen, I just brought up one simple thing about 1-2s, and you've gone off on one. So let's move on.
I don't know. If you listen back to this, I think you were the one that started agreeing all this. You know what I mean? Giving it all the chat. Danny Chavez. He's the Colombian Warrior, is his nickname, versus Kai, the Fighting Hawaiian Kamaka. So I guess if Kai changed his occupation and went, I'm going to be a chef, he would be called the Cooking Hawaiian. So he's a literal bloke then. It's like, yeah, all right, you're the Fighting Hawaiian. Well, we know that that's your job. So if he ever changes his career, we know what his nickname's going to be.
You could say about Danny Chavez, the Colombian Warrior. If he then went out and became a waiter, it'd be the Colombian Waiter. It's not different. They're both crap nicknames.
It's true. But I don't know why I didn't think of the Colombian one. You're right.
Right. Thank you. But I'll tell you what they ain't. They ain't crap fighters, these guys.
I know they're both absolutely brilliant. This ended in a draw, this fight. And I enjoyed it. It was a good one. There was no fast forwarding going on here. I thought it was a good fight, and both really good fighters, both amazing, especially Chavez. He's my favorite fighter that sort of stood out for me, that I went, I really like this bloke. You know, he stood out on this card as someone, you know, to remember. I ain't going to forget this guy. I really like this Chavez bloke. You know, someone I didn't have any knowledge of before, that I went, this guy's brilliant. The other guy's good and all.
I'm the other way around. Obviously seen Kamaka fight before, but I just came away going, I really like this Kamaka. I think he's going to be really a top draw fighter. So I came away with feeling that way about Kamaka, the way you did, I guess, about Chavez. But that goes to play into the fact that it was a draw.
Yeah.
The truth is Kamaka was deducted a point in round 2 for let's just call it repeated fouls. There was eye pokes and groin strikes. He got a point taken off. If he didn't get that point taken off, he would have won this fight. What would he won? At 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. But because he had the point deduction, he ended up getting a draw, 29-27, 28-28, 28-28. So frustrating for him because he had a close fight first time out. Close fight against TJ Brown, lost on split decision, could easily have gone his way. And now he's snatched not a win from the jaws of victory again. So,
yeah. What do you think about point deduction, though? Agreeing it, unagreeing it, not bothered? What are we saying? You got any comments on it to make? Because it was to do with, really, like, say, one eye poke, but he was warned on numerous occasions, look, put your fingers in, otherwise we're going to end up with an eye poke. He eventually eye poked him. And then Herb Dean had a very weird conversation and said, listen, I warned you about this. One more infraction of any sort, eye poke or whatever, I will be deducting more than a point, is what he said. So he was very serious, as in, listen, I've told you about this, and now it's actually happened. So you do one more thing, and I'm going to do something about it. And the one more thing happened within, I don't know, straight away.
It was so soon after. For me, I was watching that fight after that warning from Herb, and I was just thinking, if I was in his corner, I would just say to him, no more knees or leg kicks, just none, because you always run a risk of it riding up the leg. Calf kicks, fine, but I'm not having any more kicks above the knee or knees, full stop, because you know that they can just graze past the cup. They can, your toes can slide across the thigh and just graze the cup. And the other guy, let's be honest, he knows that too. He knows one more infraction, you're getting at least a point taken off. It maybe even sound like Herb was considering a disqualification. So that other guy knows that as well. And so
he can react severely to
any contact
shot,
with a cup, any contact with the eye, he's possibly going to milk it a bit or make a point of it, because he knows that that's going to cost the other guy the fight. And as you're saying, it happened so soon after they didn't get a chance to get in his ear.
Didn't get back to his corner. You're not allowed to coach him while.
Yeah, but you'd like to think he's common sense. He would have gone, I've got to stay away from the groin, these areas for a little bit at least. I have to, because otherwise, I'm probably, like I say, with the warning that Herb gave him, make it sound like he's going to disqualify him. If that wasn't enough of a warning shot to him that I need to stop with these riskier techniques, I don't know what was. And so he's kind of only got himself to blame for his poor fight IQ in that regard.
It was pretty questionable cup shot anyway, wasn't it?
Really? Yeah, it was right on the sort of the black band, wasn't it? The black waistband. shorts. So I just think that the problem I have with point deductions and stuff like this is there's no clear guideline. It just seems to be what ref you get. So sometimes I've seen people grab a fence or something and they get warned, but the ref doesn't award the guy the takedown, even though the fence grab prevented the takedown. You see other times where people have done really bad eye pokes or this, that, and the other, they've not had a point taken off. So it's just the inconsistency of it, that it should maybe just be really rigid. You grab a fence, it's a point, done. No questions asked. It's a point. So everyone now knows if I grab the fence, doesn't matter if it prevents the takedown or not, I lose a point. That's it. No questions
asked.
I
mean, look, I have to say that would make it consistent. It would make it very clear, but it would not have changed a lot of fights, wouldn't it? If you know what I mean. The scoring of a lot of fights would change overnight because a lot of people do it instinctively. But like you say, I don't care if it was instinctive or by purpose. Who cares? You grabbed it. The rules are if you grab it, you lose a point. I have to say, it would make it very, very clear. Very, very clear and easier on the ref, right? Because the ref will go, well, listen, that's just the rules of the rules. You grabbed it. I saw you grab it. That's it. The only thing we've got to argue about here is, did you grab it or not? But if you did, it is a point. That's it. I'm not sure fighters, obviously a fighter on the right side will like it. I'm not sure fighters would like it because a lot of things happen during these fights. And at the moment, it's left to the referee's discretion. But like you say, that does lead to inconsistencies. That's for sure.
But the other problem you got is that as these are only 3-round fights in most cases, losing a point essentially makes it a fight where you have to win all 3 rounds after that. Otherwise, the best you can get is a draw, or at least then you have to start talking about possible 10-8 round stuff like that. But the truth is, has such big ramifications, a point deduction. You know, in boxing, you lose a point in a 12-round fight, you've got ages to make it up. Real long time to make it up. It's sort of diluted over the course of the 12 rounds. But you lose a point in a 3-round fight. That's 33% of the fight that you've sacrificed almost. You've almost given the opponent a round's head start in a 3-round fight. So you're really up against it. So it doesn't work. But that's why I've always said they should not do the 10-9 must system. They should do half points. A clear round, a close round is 9.5. A clear round is 9. A dominant round is 8.5, and an absolute mauling is 8. And then you could take half a point off for an infraction.
And you're saying that, but you're saying that because it is 3-round, because it's shorter.
Correct.
It does too much of an impact, too much of a say, and then the fight is unbalanced because the rest of the time, barring this point deduction, the other guy could have got mashed to bits, and he still loses. So correct. Makes sense. But there's not somebody on the team analysing like you do. They don't have the mathematical head that you do.
Well, this is the problem.
This is more people need to listen to this stuff, and then the word will spread and the rules will start to get changed. So I like that fight. I like both those fighters. It was a draw. I really like Chavez because I could see that he is really well trained, really knows how to fight. He's got amazing reflexes. Some of the stuff he was doing was so fast. It's so difficult to pull off, let alone in a fight, that just saying physically, the body being able to move like his body moved, I saw a lot in him. Throwing kicks, punches and kicks and kicks and punches in quick succession, one after the other, and still being in a good position with balance and everything after it it's technical and skillful, that's for sure. So I think he's brilliant, but they're both really good, and it was a good fight. All right. Okay. Well, the next fight, now, believe it or not, I would have said, oh, Jesus, he's still in it. Grits. You're joking. I couldn't believe it when he came up. Chris Grits, best nickname ever. Chris Grits. Grutzemacher versus Rafa Gifted Garcia. You know what? Now's the time to put things like Chavez and Kamala out of your head, because this is the opposite. This is no technical bloke. But you know what? I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I loved the fight, and I loved the decision. I thought this was brilliant because he's crap, Grits. He ain't good. He's not real at fights. He doesn't look like somebody that trains fighting. Doesn't look like that. His skill set does not look like he's someone who goes into the gym and trains MMA. Doesn't look like that. But I tell you what, this bloke knows what to do, a bit like Elkins, knows what to do to get his hand raised. He don't always get his hand raised. I think he's definitely was better than he's been in the past because he showed more, but he got absolutely slacked up, smashed to bits, and he still won that fight. And I rate him for it. I really do rate him for it. If he was a better fighter, had better technique, knew how to throw punches, he'd have won that fight easy. He'd have actually knocked Garcia out. But I'm not saying he's not capable of doing it. That's rubbish. He's a human being. He doesn't seem capable of doing it. His skill set isn't that. But it was just accumulation of constantly doing something and touching the other bloke's face. And that's what got him that decision. And I loved it that he won. He deserved to win because he did not stop. He did not back off. But his skills are pretty poor. And if he was a better fighter, he would have knocked that guy out ages ago. But he couldn't do it. He should have, right? How many shots to the face did this Garcia take? You shouldn't be able to take that many punches. It's proof that the punches, I'm sorry, without being horrible, they ain't good punches. But they are punches. And they win you fights because they get you points. So I enjoyed it. I liked it. Go on. Good on you, Grits.
Like you, I couldn't believe he was still in it just because I remember him obviously from the Ultimate Fighter series from years ago. And I just don't recall seeing him having fought very often.
Me neither.
And that's backed up by the fact that he's only had, take away the Ultimate Fighter finale contest, that was only his 5th UFC fight in 4.5 years. So he's averaging 1 UFC fight a year, essentially. So we won't see him till 2022 now, I imagine, mid-2022. That's really a long way away. But we won't see him for a good 6 to 9 months now. I couldn't believe he was still in it, just because I think he's lost most of his fights in the UFC as well. But he, as you mentioned him there, Darren Elkins, he also reminded me a little bit of a Nick Carney-Lentz. That kind of a real gritty, strong, tough guy that just won't give up.
Knock him out or he ain't going nowhere. That's it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you've got to detach him from his senses, otherwise he's still in the game. I think he almost got detached from his senses in the first round.
Agreed.
He got stung with. He got so detached from his senses that when he was doing the post-fight chat, he kept on saying he got knocked down. So you didn't. You just got your bell rung, badly.
Yeah.
I don't know if he went down afterwards, but I know that the big right hand he's talking about just basically made him do the chicken dance.
Yeah.
And what I liked about Grits, because early on, I was like, oh, this guy's just going to get banged out. He's walking forward like a zombie with his hands down just around chin level. And then when he got clipped with that big, I think it was an overhand right, I just thought, well, this was so obviously going to happen. But I really like the fact that he got through those stormy waters.
Yeah.
And he invested a lot of time in body shots.
Sorry, you're right. I do remember that now you say it. Yeah.
So I think that won him the fight. Yeah. Those body shots.
Yeah,
they
loads.
Were there all day long. Yeah, there was a couple of times where you could see they caused Garcia a lot of discomfort. And I think that opened up headshots. For me, I was watching it in round 3 going, I want Grits to win this just because of
same here.
He's got through the stormy weather and all that sort of stuff. And I think he's been better in this fight. He's been closer to outside of that one big shot. He's been the one pushing the action, causing damage. Garcia really looked like didn't want to, finish that fight, come out for round 3 and stuff like that. It's
unbelievable, right?
Through it. Yeah,
Grits against Grits, no skills or anything. Don't win no. But don't win no fights. Garcia, a pretty highly touted new prospect coming up, and he's learned a big lesson there. It ain't all about the skills. There's some other stuff going on, and Grits, believe it or not, even though you're saying record-wise he don't even have that much experience, to me, showed a hell of a lot of experience, a will to win, and like we said, as long as he can think, as in he ain't smashed out enough that he can't think, he's like, well, it don't matter. I ain't been done yet. I'm gonna do you. Bloody brilliant.
He's still got a little bit of breath, a little bit of energy. He'll keep on, going forward.
Yeah,
he landed
really good.
176 strikes in that fight compared to 90 from Rafa Garcia. And I think that because of the takedowns, I was certain that Garcia got round 1, Grits got round 2. But round 3, Garcia, I think, secured a couple of takedowns, and I think one of them he kind of stayed on top for a fair bit of time. And I thought to myself, he's going to win this fight because of that. I just thought, but that just don't. If he did, it wouldn't have sat right with me. It was one of those fights where, judging it as a sport, I would have gone, yeah, Garcia kind of maybe deserved round 3, but judging it as a fight, I was like, but Grit should win this easy. So I was glad that Grit's got the nod, that the judges kind of saw it the same way and kind of went.
Yeah, because I weren't sure. Yeah, I wanted him to win. I think he deserved to win. I think he did more. I think he won that fight. But yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. It weren't a certainty, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think round 3 really could have gone either way. Yeah, the judges saw it the same way we did. They felt Grit should have got the win. He did get the win. And I like fights like that. You know, a guy pushing through some adversity, a guy who, like you say, might not be overly blessed with skills. I'll be a little bit more diplomatic about it than you. Rather than saying he's just got crap skills. Hit me up,
Just
Grits.
Doesn't look like honed martial arts skills.
No. Like I was just about to say, if Grits wants to DM me, I'll give him your address and your details, and you can have it out of him in person. But remember, you're going to have to separate him from his senses, otherwise he's going to smash your face in.
He'd definitely do me for sure. He just threw so much stuff. That's the problem, though, with it. That's what I'm trying to say to you, though. He threw such a volume of strikes, and it isn't because, oh yeah, but he just decided to throw a load of weed strikes. He don't look like he's got big, powerful strikes in him, even though he's a big fella. Doesn't look like he's got it. And it's because his technique, whatever he threw, he was square as out, walking. None of the technique that would generate power from the floor. They were just hands for the sake of hands coming out. But they did come out. He put his 2 arms out like a zombie, got into a range where he could, and then instead of cocking his arms back and having defense and then throwing from his defense, he threw from his zombie arms, which means obviously he's not going to get much power from them. But when he got even more close, then he changed it to elbows. Like you said, he threw plenty of uppercuts in there and loads of body shots. I like it a lot. I'm saying he's brilliant. I think it was a brilliant fight. I enjoyed it. He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
No.
The skills. No, I ain't changing anything. I'd said I liked it, but the skills, they ain't very good. He just
crap. You said earlier, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Well, I can't remember if I did, but
I'm giving him your contact details. You can have it.
We don't need to do stuff like that. That's not necessary, right? I'm just an analyst, a professional broadcaster analyzing the fight, along with a fellow media member. So there's no need for all that, right? I'm just saying. I'm telling you now, if he spent some time, look, you told me for 177 shots. That's what you're telling me. He didn't have to throw 177 shots. Just didn't have to. He didn't. He had to, because his technique is bad. That's it. So he had to.
Well, he didn't throw 177. He landed 176.
But okay. So he threw a lot more. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he threw 268, which obviously in a 3-round fight, that's 90 per round, which is 18 a minute. So that's a strike every 3 seconds. Like you say, he was busy. He was active. Unless that he does have those flaws you mentioned, but the fact that he just constantly was touching this guy is kind of what wore out Garcia and what got him the win. It won't always work for Chris Grits. I don't think that technique or that skill set. It worked in this fight, and it made for a bloody good fight. And
it did, yeah.
And the main thing he showed was brilliant heart, guts, chin, fight IQ, all those things, which are valuable. But when he comes up against guys a little bit more refined, that stuff. It's not enough.
He's a lightweight. That's a problem.
Yeah, it's a tough division.
It's madness in there, right? So he ain't going to work against everyone, but he's still good. I can't believe I'm saying it, but can't wait to see him have another fight. I do think I didn't remember the body shots until you mentioned them, but actually, as much as I've mashed his technique up, the body shots did seem to have way more of effect than anything he threw at the head. They actually did seem quite good. Maybe because they've got a bit more distance on them because of where they're coming from. He seemed to have a bit more cock on those punches, But this stuff up here, there's no outdoing on them, Outdoing. That's why there was so many. But yeah, brilliant fight. The sort of fight that normally actually we would probably criticize and say,
because it was a bit sloppy and a bit. a bit messy, but in this instance, it was exciting. There was not you didn't really have an idea who'd won it until the decision was read. You know, Garcia showed all the things we said about Grits.
Yeah.
Garcia showed it as well, right? He showed.
I think he's good. Yeah,
Guts, fight, and all those things. So it was a good scrap. It was a good fight. Both of them done wicked.
Yeah,
good job.
We say it all the time, right? There's lots of things that make a good fight. One of them that makes the best fights is a story. And to me, I had a story whilst watching it, a story within the fight. And it had a story and it was enjoyable to watch. So yeah, go on, Grits. And I have to say, I don't think this Rafa Garcia is crap. I think he's good as well. Didn't they say he had another fight before this? Is that 2 in a row he's been done now?
Yeah.
Came in on a short notice and they were saying he's on a full camp on this one. So they're wondering why he's got rubbish cardio. It's like rubbish cardio. You got Grits giving you absolute grief. And he lasted the whole thing. So he's good.
It was his second fight, Garcia. I believe it was his second fight in the UFC. I remember his previous fight. It was against Hakparast.
That's right. Against a tough opponent, that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I did expect him to have enough to beat Grits based on what I saw against Hakparast. But, you know, none of us counted on the grit that Grits has got.
Didn't.
Grit got through. So that's grit for him. All right, the last one didn't work. Anyway. Jolly good.
I know it kind of did. I liked it. He's very gritty. Right, no more Grits. That's the end of this one. That's the prelims done for UFC Fight Night ESPN. I think it's called maybe ESPN or Fight Night. I don't know. There seems to be some sort of disagreement about what it's called. I know it was live on ESPN, but I'm sure it's called UFC Fight Night. Hall versus Strickland. That's the prelim chat done. And at some point, we shall do a chat for the main card. But in the name of keeping it short and sweet and failing, we'll just stop there on the prelims. There you go. I'll see you in a bit.
Laters.
All right. See you later.